Hey there y'all, my name is Kooky Ken and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today because I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite shows ever, Grey's Anatomy. Now, I've been watching this show ever since I was a kid, and then I had to rewatch everything and relive all the death and the love and the tragedy and just everything that happened, and now I'm here for season 15, and it's ridiculous. Now, I love Shonda. I love supporting a black woman in her endeavors, and I love it even more when the shows are actually good. I've noticed a lot of people on YouTube reviewing How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, but almost no one reviews Grey's Anatomy. So, if you like Grey's Anatomy, subscribe to me, like this video and comment, and hopefully I can make this into a regular thing because there's no way I'm going to miss an episode of this season or the rest of the season. Now, I have a lot of notes for you guys today because I just finished watching the most recent episode, the spring premiere, even though I'm a couple days late, and I have so much to say. So I'm gonna give you a quick recap of what happened in the fall finale, and then we're gonna jump into the spring premiere. So basically in the last episode, there was this huge windstorm rocking throughout all of Seattle, and it basically put everything like on a standstill. At the end of the episode, the power went out, people were stuck in elevators and ambulances and everything. Like, it was crazy. So basically, first off, nothing to do with the storm. Catherine has cancer, and it's really sad. She has a chondrosarcoma, which is a cancer that's kind of like wrapped around her spine, and there's nothing that can be done about it. She flew out Meredith and that really cocky doctor that Amelia slept with, and you know, they didn't know it was her, but they were like, oh yeah, this is inoperable, like there's nothing you can do. And then she was like, surprise, it's me. And so yeah, she has cancer, and it's really unfortunate because the Avery Foundation was just renamed to the Catherine Fox Foundation, and so, you know, she has all this going for her, but she just can't seem to win, and that's really sad. Alex and Joe got married, and Meredith officiated it. It was really cute on the ferry where Derek always was. However, you know, there was like a big catastrophe with the wedding, so they ended up getting married on the ferry, and then their honeymoon got interrupted because Joe had this like great idea of what to do for her research for her fellowship, so they're kind of just stuck at home and they can't go anywhere because of the windstorm, so they're just gonna ride it out and have a little like honeymoon at their house. So the guy with the glasses, so preface, I don't know every character's name. One, there's a lot of characters, and two, I only really pay attention to my favorite characters, so I might say something like guy with the glasses or hot Asian guy, and whenever I find it necessary to say their name, whenever they become more relevant to the plot, I will give you their name. So the guy with the glasses and the hot Asian guy, they were stuck in the ambulance during the windstorm, and they had like some past like kind of sexual tension. The guy with the glasses is gay, but he is kind of a gaby, you know, he's new to it all, and the Asian guy was like, oh, you know, I don't want to be your mentor, you know, like I'm not here to teach you how to be gay. And then the glasses guy, he just goes on this huge exposition, and he's like, you know, I was a nerd in high school, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, like no one was having sex, like basically just explaining like why he didn't have a lot of experience. And I guess that really like stirred something in the dude's loins, because like bam, they started making out, and I'm, you know, it's just like we're assuming that they had sex in the back of the ambulance during the windstorm. And honestly, you know what, if you're stuck out there, like do what you gotta do, like you might as well make the best of your time. Now Meredith and Andrew are also stuck in the elevator. So Meredith and Deluca, they've had like some weird tension also going on because he kissed her at the wedding, and to be honest, I didn't even really remember that happening because Meredith has kind of been going on a lot of dates this season, so I really didn't think too much of it, but Andrew is just like smitten with her. And before he was with Maggie, and I think he actually gave her an STD or something like that. And I thought it was kind of weird that, you know, he would go after her sister, but Meredith doesn't care. And, you know, it's just kind of interesting. So they're in the elevator and Meredith is like, don't look at me, like, don't touch me, because, you know, she knows that she's gonna be tempted. But I love Meredith. Like, she is a bad bitch. Like, she has so much self-control, so much just like willpower, and she was like, you go stand over there in that corner and like just don't look at me. So I thought that was really funny. Then we go to Jackson and Maggie. So like I said, Jackson's mother, Catherine, has cancer, and Maggie tells him, I don't exactly remember who told Maggie, I'm pretty sure it was Meredith, but Maggie was like, you know, I couldn't keep this from you, and, you know, it's just really, really sad. And, you know, for me, I'm kind of confused about the whole Jackson-Maggie thing, because Jackson was like really pouring his heart out to Maggie in like one of the last episodes, and she literally just like walks out of the room. Like, she's always complaining how he doesn't let her into his life and he's always keeping secrets, and he went off to Utah or Idaho or whatever state like by himself and didn't tell her. However, whenever he does try to, you know, tell her what's up, she completely checks out. And I understand Maggie is like this really like kind of awkward character, unsure of herself, and gets overwhelmed very easily, but you can't say you want one thing and then when it shows up, say you want another. So I was just kind of annoyed at that. And also, if I had cancer, I would want to tell my family when I was ready. So I understand that, you know, Jackson's her boyfriend or whatever they are now, they're kind of unsure. Like, I understand that she wanted to be there for him, but I don't really know if necessarily that was her place to tell him. So I'm still kind of on the fence about that. And then lastly, we have the trifecta of Owen, Teddy, and Amelia. So this is literally just like a clusterfuck. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Owen went to Germany because of Amelia's advice to basically confess his love to Teddy. They had a one-night stand, after which she kicked him out, and then she got pregnant. But then Owen was back in America, he adopted a baby, and Amelia was fostering the mother of the child, and they kind of made their own little family. And whenever Teddy came over to America to tell Owen she was pregnant, she was like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, you know, he's already settled, he has a family. And so we just don't know what's going on. And so it's just so awkward, and now they're stuck in an elevator together. And that is where the fall finale ended. And so now spring premiere. So basically the elevators are not moving. The storm has wreaked havoc over like the entire hospital, and everyone is freaking out. So Cece, she's been one of the main patients this entire season. She is a matchmaker. She's tried to hook up Meredith and some people, and she's helping Maggie and Jackson with their relationship, and she needs a heart. The only thing is, her heart donor is stuck in the elevator with Bailey and a resident. I'm just gonna call her Fat White Girl, and don't be offended by that because I am fat myself. Now, they're stuck in the elevator, and this white chick is like really stressing Bailey out. She's like having a panic attack. She's like freaking out, and Bailey's like, just calm down. Like, I can't deal with this. I have a heart condition, and our patient like needs us to be aware of what's going on. So, it cuts to Maggie consoling Jackson. Again, his mother has a chondrosarcoma, and he just doesn't understand what's going on. So he tries calling her, but no one can get a hold of Catherine. So hopefully she's safe from the windstorm, because it would really suck for her to die from a windstorm, you know, when she has cancer. You know, it's like, come on. So that's unfortunate. Alex and Joe are still stuck at home, and Joe's like, you know what? I don't have to go to work today. Okay, I'm gonna get drunk. She is literally drinking like a goblet of wine, and Alex is like, oh man, they told me that the power is shut off. I need to go to work. And she's like, I'm gonna come too. And he's like, no, you should stay here. It's like, yes, that's a good idea. Also with Joe, like, I like her character because I feel like it shows a lot of like female empowerment. Like she really had to advocate for herself, like being at Sloan Memorial or Sloan Gray Memorial, whatever. She made a fellowship for herself. She's very bright, and she survived an abusive relationship. She even had to pull the plug on her abusive ex-husband. But I feel like this season she's kind of just been like a minor character. Like I don't really know what they're gonna really do with her character, so it'll be interesting to see what happens later on. Now, Deluca and Meredith are stuck in the elevator, and he's trying to he's trying to make her swoon, and he's talking about Doctor Who and the TARDIS and how it was one of his favorite shows growing up in Italy, and basically it's like this time bubble where none of the rules apply, and basically he's just hinting that they should hook up in the elevator. And Meredith, I love her because she was like, no, like the rules still apply here. I am your attending and you're my resident. And he was like, oh, well, Derek was your attending and like you guys got married. And she was like, don't go there. Like you are not Derek. And, this is not the same situation. And I've just been kind of thrown off by the whole Deluca thing because yes, he's cute, but he just did not seem like Meredith's type. Like he's really young, really immature. Like I don't really know how much they have in common. And he's like the complete opposite from Derek. And I know that there will never be another Derek. However, I just don't know if it's gonna be a good match. Like she's kind of a hard ass sometimes. Like she's the Meredith Grey, like Harper Avery Award winner. Maybe she does need like someone like young and like, a little bit like immature and like spontaneous in her life. But I just don't want to see her get hurt, especially when she has so many good options. So we'll see what happens with that. Next scene, we cut to Richard, and he's been going through some stuff. So basically, in the finale, he basically wrecked a bar. Like he took a baseball bat to this bar because they were allowing alcoholics to trade their AA chips for shots. So however many years they had in their chip, however many years they'd been sober, they would get that many shots. And he was like, you're ruining people's lives. And he basically just like destroyed the whole bar. And so he's been going through a lot. But today, Richard was in full on like suburban white mom mode. He was like yelling at the building manager, like, why are the elevators off? Can't you see that there's a hospital? Like we need people here. Like we need to help people. The building manager was like, do you know how many ground to floor connections it takes for you to use a defibrillator without it, going off and like killing you? And then he was like, no, man, doctors think they know everything. And it's like, I felt like that was kind of disrespectful of Richard. Like, he's not the chief anymore. Doesn't need to be yelling at people. And I'm sure the guy knew the gravity of the situation, but I feel like they just needed to put him in the episode somewhere. Like, he didn't really have a huge role this episode. Like, he kind of did, but he kind of didn't. So that was kind of weird. And then Betty was just waiting for Amelia, and Richard was like, come on, we're gonna go help some people. And she was like, no, I'm just gonna wait here. He was like, no, come with me. So he takes her off, and they're gonna go help people in the hospital. So basically, we're back with Miranda and the fat white chick in the elevator, and she, like I said before, is having a panic attack. And Bailey's like, no, you are not having a panic attack. Like, calm down. And Bailey's like playing with her hands, like she was looking at her fingers. At first, I thought that she had like lost her wedding ring or something, but I think that she was just really anxious, and she was like, twiddling her thumbs and stuff. And they decided to do some deep breathing exercises because the fat white chick, she was like hyperventilating the patient. She was like, and it's like, we need those organs to be viable. Like, we have a patient on the donor list. So they did some in and out exercises together, and they were gonna calm down. So Cut to the next broken elevator with Teddy, Owen, and Amelia. They're helping the patient. He has like a license plate like sticking out of his chest, and they're trying to figure out what to do to like assess the bleed. And then I think Amelia asked a question or something, and Teddy's like, Owen asked Teddy a question, and it's like, shouldn't we talk about this later? And Amelia's like, no, like let's talk about it now. Like I'd like to know. Like, so we find out that Teddy is 16 weeks pregnant. I don't know why people say that. Like, can't you just say 4 months? Like, that is so annoying. So she's 4 months pregnant, and everyone's like shook. They're like, wow, like you're halfway through your pregnancy, almost halfway, and like you're just now telling me this. And I know where Teddy was coming from. She was like, don't act like this was easy. Like, how was I supposed to know what to do? Like, I come back and you have like your own family. Like, I don't want to be a homewrecker. Even though Amelia and Owen's relationship is very weird because they were married, then they got divorced, but now they're like shacking up together. So Teddy's like, what did you expect me to do? So that was, I was totally there for it, because what was she supposed to do? I certainly would not know what to do in that situation, and my earring fell off. So back into Meredith and Deluca's elevator, they're having like a talk about Andrew's family and all of this, and they're really just like kind of getting to know each other. Like, this is their time. And Andrew tells her about his father. And so his father was a great surgeon in Italy, and Meredith also has a mother who was like a great surgeon. So they have that in common. But he tells her in Italian how his dad was bipolar, and he went into a manic episode of like working, no sleeping, not eating for 3 days, and he killed like 4 people because of it. Like 4 of his 7 patients died because of it. And he was saying all this in Italian like Meredith didn't know or whatever. But secretly, we found out later in the episode, she took Italian in high school, so she knew what was going on. And, at the end, he was like, thanks, I've never told anyone that before. And when anyone says that, like, I've never told anyone that, they're trying to make you seem special, like there's some connection only between the two of you. And they like lean in really close and you think they're gonna kiss, and then Meredith just stands up. She was like, oh my god, I gotta get out of here. Like, what the hell is going on? So Karev finally gets to the hospital, and I guess he's in the windstorm, and he sees the ambulance there, so he gets in to take a break from the windstorm, and he sees Glasses Dude and Hot Asian resident orthopedic surgeon dude putting their clothes back on. And he was just like, are you guys serious? Like, get back to work. Like, that is so unprofessional what you're doing. And they're like really like, they're nervous. They're like, oh my god, we're gonna get fired. Like, the chief of the hospital just caught us having sex in an ambulance in the windstorm when we should be in the hospital trying to save lives. So that was kind of hee-hee to me. That was like kind of funny. So back with Amelia and Teddy and all of them, they're trying to figure out what to do about their patient. And, he's basically bleeding out, and they don't have any sort of instruments. They have a scalpel, and they have a license plate, and they have a battery. That's pretty much it. So Owen and Teddy go into like trauma surgery mode, and I saw Amelia get jealous. She was like, oh, this is something that they really have in common, something that they've done together, like in the military. Oh my goodness, they like slice this guy open. They use a license plate with the battery to like hammer his sternum open and like crack him open. It was crazy. Like, I just had to mention that. But, they're doing the thing. And Amelia is like, oh my goodness, in brain surgery, there's only a teaspoon of blood. And she was like, I'm glad that I am specialized. So cut back to Richard. He's giving advice to Betty from one addict to another about addiction, how you can cope. And he told her, don't expect to ever be cured, because you won't, like you could be clean for 10 years and then take one drink and like go into like a spiral again. Like, all it takes is one time. And Betty, like during the finale, like, or a couple of episodes ago, she had run away and gone on like some drug binge. And so her goal is to get well enough and to get sober so that she can get custody of her son. But that probably is not going to happen anytime soon. So, Cece is in the operating room and she knows that something is not right. She's like, I've had transplants before and I've been waiting a really long time for my heart. And they're like, okay, we need to get this heart right now because they can't put her on bypass to like spare her heart until the organs are ready to be put in. So Jackson, Link, and the hijabi girl resident and the maintenance man, they all go to try to open the elevator. And Jackson, he literally takes apart an IV stand and starts like jabbing it into the metal. And I don't know what that's gonna do. I thought that was kind of stupid, honestly, like just for effect. Like if you're just like jabbing holes in the elevator, what's that gonna do? It would have made more sense for him to like jab it in the corner and try to like push it back. But anyway, the maintenance man is like, oh, you guys have no respect for the building. And they were like, Cece's heart is in there. And he was like, wait, Cece, the matchmaker? She set me up with this nurse from the 3rd floor and we've been together ever since. And then they all get together and then they finally get the elevator door open. So they're going down into the elevator to like help Bailey, and you should see her face. Like she is so relieved because she was ready to get on the elevator, especially with the resident, because she was freaking her out. So cut back to Teddy, Amelia, and Owen, and Teddy was just saying, like, I understand I'm pregnant with your child, but you're my best friend, and I see what you have here with Amelia. I'm not asking you to give up anything. You can be with Amelia and still have your family. She just wants her friend back. But then Amelia, she doesn't really say this in front of Teddy, but she's like, Owen, that's total BS. Like, it can't be, it's not just Teddy. Like, it's Teddy. That's your best friend. The woman you were in love with for all this time. Like, everything has gotten extremely more complicated and they have to figure out why that is. But also, in this situation, I feel like Amelia was like more concerned than Owen was. Like, Owen just found out he's about to have a baby with his best friend, but Amelia was like the one freaking out. And I understand because she's like built this little like mini pseudo family with Owen, so she doesn't want to lose that, but it just felt so weird. Like, why are you all up in our business? Like, I understand it was her business, like, by association, but it rubbed me the wrong way, like, a little bit, because Amelia is a control freak. Now, Deluca and Meredith, Deluca decides to try to be a hero, go up to like the little light panel and be like, I can just climb on top of the elevator and get us out of here. And she was like, you're gonna be hurt. Like, don't try to be a hero because you're not gonna get stuck up there and get crushed or whatever. So again, they're just sitting in there and, they're just talking, and she was like, oh man, just go back to speaking Italian. Like, I like that way better. And I had to pause the episode when he said this. He said it in Italian, obviously, but he was like, when you let me kiss you, and you will let me kiss you again, I won't ever stop. And I was like, oh my God, like, every girl wishes they could hear that, right? And then Meredith, she responds in Italian. She was like, oh, I bet I didn't tell you that I took 3 years of Italian in college, did I? And so he was just like, oh my God, like, she knew that everything that I said about my father, about the kiss and everything. But it was also cute because, that's one more thing that they have in common. However, it was just kind of like, damn, like, Meredith, she has so many tricks up her sleeve. Like, you never know what that woman is capable of. Like, that's why she's kind of scary, Like, no one knows what to expect from the Meredith Grey. So, basically, we are back in the elevator with Bailey and the fat white chick and Cece's heart donor. Jackson, all of them have made it down there, and they move the bed up, and everyone's getting out of the elevator, and the last guy to get out is the maintenance man. So the maintenance man's kind of fat, and you could kind of see that he was having trouble getting out, but I guess he was like kind of embarrassed. He was like, no, go ahead, help Cece, like, I'll be fine. So he's like halfway out the elevator, he's trying to pull himself up, and ding, you hear the elevator come on, and basically the elevator moves like this and then like crushes his legs. His legs don't get completely torn off, but they were crushed. And it was like so ironic because only seconds before, like the white chick, she was like, oh my god, what happens if I try to get out of the elevator and like it like, you know, cuts me in half. And so that was such foreshadowing, but I didn't think like they were actually gonna do it, but they did it, and it was crazy. And then, you know, the elevators come back on, everyone, like Amelia and Teddy and Owen get out of the elevator, Meredith and Deluca get out of the elevator, but then Glasses guy and Hot Asian guy, they're getting on an elevator, I guess, to go up to wherever they need to be, and they got the elevator where the guy had got his like legs cut off, and there was just blood everywhere, and they were like, oh my god, like something bad happened. So it was really, really dramatic. There was a lot of blood. So Cece is like, she's fading in and out, like she really needs to get her heart, but that's not happening right now. So she asked Maggie to tell her about Jackson, and she was like, oh no, I'm not gonna tell you about that. And she was like, look, I can either focus on dying or focus on your problems. So Maggie starts telling her about Dr. Avery and how they had a fight. She doesn't know the status of their relationship and everything, and Cece basically says, look, either you're feeling like this because he's terrible for you and like you should definitely break up, or he's so amazing and like you don't want to lose him. And so that was just really like, Cece's so wise, and like she gave everyone in the show so much good advice, but Maggie already knows this, and it's like, at first she thought that he was breaking up with her, now like she's part of the problem. And I just want Jackson and Maggie to like figure their shit out already. It's really, really annoying. Basically, Karev comes in, and you know, Karev was one of the people that like came into the surgery to see if Bailey was okay or whatever. And Bailey's like, oh, Alex, you decided to show up. And he was like, yeah, you know, the storm was like doing whatever. And Bailey was like, you know, Alex, you come take over the surgery. I'm gonna go find, I guess, a clear OR. I don't remember what they said, but she like basically demanded Alex come and like take over the surgery. He was like, I'm not gonna do that, but she was like yelling at him in front of everyone. And later on, he was like, look, Bailey, you can have your stupid job back. You know, I don't want to be talked like that ever again. Like, that was so rude and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, look, Karev, I did that to you because I was having a panic attack, and I thought I was gonna nick a vein. Like, I thought I was gonna mess up the heart. You know, I trusted you in that moment to take over the surgery. And then it clicked in his head, like, oh man, Bailey's really going through something. And then he like consoles her, he hugs her, and you could see on Bailey's phone, she had texted Ben, and she was like, you know, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. And like, she just looked like she was so relieved because, you know, she doesn't want her husband to die. Like, he's a firefighter. There's a windstorm going on. But Bailey has really deteriorated like these past few seasons. Like, she worked so hard to be chief, but now she can't even enjoy her position because of her anxiety. And that really sucks because I also like have anxiety, but you know, when it starts to interfere with like your work and stuff like that, like, you know, it's really serious. So I wonder if she's like gonna take time off from the hospital. Like, she already took a sabbatical from her marriage with Ben. Like, what else is she gonna do? So I'm really concerned about Miranda because she's one of my favorite characters. Like, you know, plus size, black woman, doctor, like, yes, I'm here for it. But it's really sad. So we're in the operating room, and they're trying to save the maintenance guy's legs, but Link, he wants to amputate. He was like, don't you see these bones are crushed? Like, what am I gonna do? And Avery was like, no, like, he risked himself to open the doors to go down there and save her heart. We owe it to him to try to save his legs. And this part really pissed me off because I feel like doctors, like, I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to be this type of doctor. Like, they're so quick to just do the easiest thing, you know? It's like, oh man, you know, reconstructing his legs would take a lot of work. Why don't we just cut it off? It's like, this man needs his freaking legs. And if Jackson had not have been there to advocate for him, that man would only have one leg. And so, you know, what if you don't have that advocate there? Like, what happens? Like, that really made me scared because I know that I'm sure a lot of people have dealt with that in the healthcare world. Like, they just keep getting bad results because the doctors don't want to put in the work, and that was really sad. And at the end of the episode, his legs were fine, like they were crushed, they're not fines, but they put in the pins and everything, and his legs were able to be saved. But Jackson was like, look, do you want to do the surgery, or should I let your fellow do it, because we're not amputating this man's legs. And I really respected Jackson for that. Cece, we're in the operating room. Maggie puts on the heart. It's gonna be so healthy. Now, they said that let's move on to the kidney. So I guess she needed a heart and a kidney, but for now, everything is looking okay. Cut back, Richard's looking for Betty. This girl is going through all the cabinets in the hospital looking for drugs. And they don't just leave drugs lying around. Richard's like, we keep those locked away. But she, like, I guess, like, when your addiction's that bad, you don't care, like, if you get caught. But she was just, like, in plain sight, like, door open, just, like, rummaging through cabinets looking for drugs. And he was like, is that why you came back? Like, you didn't even come back for your son, or, like, to see Amelia or Owen. You just wanted drugs. And she broke down. She was like, you know, I'm so sorry. Like, just let me leave. Like, don't tell Amelia. And he was like, girl, I would not be a good doctor, and I would not be looking out for you if I did that. So he takes her away, and they're gonna go talk. Now, cut back to Cece. Her heart is failing. It's like she waited so long to get a new heart. She's giving everyone great advice. Like, literally, the man, his legs got crushed trying to get her heart out of the elevator, and it's failing. So basically, they are trying to find some way to save her heart. They're like, oh no, it could be some problem with metabolite. Like, they don't know exactly what the problem is, only that, you know, she's bottoming out and that her heart is failing. And unfortunately, Cece dies. Like, they give her like 6 rounds of epi. They keep using the paddles. Like, they're like, oh, let's keep trying, you know, because that patient was like so dear to their hearts and they are so close with her, but she ends up dying. And there was a joke that if Cece died, she was gonna haunt Meredith to make sure that, like, you know, she followed through on her like romantic homework. And so that was kind of funny, like, you know, that later on in the episode, Meredith is like, oh, I'm being haunted. But it was really sad to see her go. But, you know, whenever they're like, oh yeah, her heart's perfect, I was like, she's gonna die. Like, I knew from that moment that she was not gonna live. So after Cece has passed away, you see Meredith just in the operating room by herself, and she's stapling her up. You know, I guess they're gonna send her to the morgue or whatnot. And she's telling her about Link and Deluca, and she was like, Cece, I think you'd be proud of me, you know, like, I have 2 men, like, coming after me, and, like, you know, she's gonna give them a chance and everything. And it was just really sad, but I'm glad that Meredith, you know, did take Cece's advice, since, you know, the woman knew what she was talking about. So one thing I thought would be kind of interesting is if they made Cece like a ghost. Like, I think after Derek died, they brought him back a couple times to, like, not haunt Meredith, but she was just always thinking about him and you would see him. So I think it'll be interesting, like, if Meredith's on a date or something, like, she sees Cece and, like, she reminds her, like, you better be good, you know, like, you're on a date or whatever. I think that'll be interesting to have as, like, a future storyline. But it was sad to see Cece die, but Meredith respects her, so that's good. Now, like I said before, Amelia was like talking to Owen and saying, you know, it's not just Teddy, it's your best friend. You have a baby on the way, like, you will be in the baby's life, and, like, you know, that will be complicated because, like, he already has Owen. Like, I mean, what's the kid's name? I don't know. He already has, like, Betty's baby, you know, so, like, what are they gonna do? So Amelia's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you time to sort this out. So I'm gonna go stay with Meredith and you can do your own thing. And it was kind of just like, damn, like, Owen gets hit with all this stuff and then his girlfriend leaves or whatever Amelia is to him, and then Teddy's back. But, you know, it's kind of weird because Teddy was basically like, look, there's nothing here, even though I know that she is in love with him, or like she loves him. So it's just him and the baby now, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So Karev talks to glasses guy and hot Asian orthopedic surgeon fellow dude. So basically they're scared, like, they think they're gonna get fired. But Karev basically tells them, like, look, what happened today wasn't cool. There are on-call rooms, there are closets, there's even, you know, a janitor's closet on the 5th floor. All of those rooms have locks. And I thought it was so funny because I knew Karev wasn't gonna fire them. Like, in his time at the hospital, Karev has slept with so many people in the hospital, like, pretty sure he got caught having sex, like, somewhere, and then he, like, gave some nurse syphilis or something. So, for to fire them over that, after he didn't even get fired, after he, like, beat up someone, like a patient or something, you know, or no, he beat up Deluca. He beat up freaking Deluca. You know, they're not gonna get fired. And so it was just so cute. And then, like, after he dismissed them, they, like, touched hands and went their separate ways. And I'm a sucker for a gay romance, so I'm really excited to see how this storyline goes on moving forward, and maybe I will actually learn their names. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I literally have no idea. Now, Maggie and Jackson, they go and find Richard, and they tell her about Catherine's cancer. Now, again, like, I'm just like, let her do it, you know? Like, maybe it's because they couldn't get in contact with her and they're worried about her, but I would feel so, like, weird, like, ganged up on if I just, like, my family came up to me like, oh, you have cancer or whatever. Like, I want to tell them, or maybe it'll take the burden off of her having to tell them, or maybe she just planned on never telling them. But, you know, it's kind of like dramatic irony where, like, you know something that the other character doesn't. So we all know that Jackson and Maggie and Richard know about her cancer, but Catherine doesn't. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And where is Catherine? I really hope she's okay. Now, like I said before, we found Betty doing drugs, or no, we found Betty trying to steal drugs from the hospital, and Amelia was basically like, look, you know, I love you, I want to foster you, maybe adopt you, and I want you to one day, you know, get custody of your son, but you're not going to do that when you're high all the time. So Betty is basically like, you have to go to rehab. Like, I think she said go to rehab or get out or something like that, but she was like, basically, she said, you know, I'm willing to send you to rehab if you are willing to try. And that's pretty much where the episode ended. So crazy. And I really want to know what's going to happen in the end of this season. Because, you know, is Meredith going to end up with Link, or, oh my God, I almost forgot. So, you know, Deluca was like, oh, you know, so do you want to do something tonight? And then Link was like, oh, hey, like, you know, because they had made plans to go out. And, you know, they were both just standing there like puppy dogs, like just waiting to see, like, which one of them she was going to choose. And she was like, I'm going to go home to my kids. I'll see you later. She pointed at both of them and she just said you. And they were like, wait, like, which one? Like, who do you mean? And so that's like the big cliffhanger. Like, who is she gonna choose? Is it gonna be Link or is it gonna be Deluca? Like, Link, kind of an asshole, you know, like, they're both attractive, but Link is older, more experienced, kind of a jerk. Andrew was like that swoony Italian guy, younger, more fun, but I still don't feel like either of them are really her type. So maybe someone, like a third person, will come out of the woodwork. Like, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, that, you know, she didn't even expect. But yeah, so that was my review for season 15, episode 9 of Grey's Anatomy. My name is Kooky Ken. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.